25-year-old left-winger Ronalds Kenins has just signed a contract to go back to the ZSC Lions of the NLA in Switzerland. This is heartbreaking because I myself was always a Kenins fan ever since he came up to the Canucks, and he scored 2 goals in his first few games, and it was just great to see this young guy going so well along with Bo Horvat. When he made his debut, he played alongside Horvat. He was the grit. He was really hard on the puck, and he would grind along the sides and everything. He would use his body and his strength to outwork opponents frequently. And in his 30 games with the Canucks in his first season, he had 4 goals, 8 assists, 12 points in total. I just remember that so fondly, and I still just... It's just disappointing to see how he turned out. I remember he scored a goal in Game 2 against Calgary, and I remember Bo Horvat just coming along the side and then throwing it out in front. Kenins right there in front with a little tick of the puck, and it goes right in. I remember Jim Hugson just yelling out, "Ronnie Kenins!" right when that happened, and that was just a glorious moment. But, of course, Kenins... about a year ago, after the season of 2 years ago, I know it's weird, the season 2014-2015, at the end of that season, he was injured, and, he didn't play with Utica for a little bit, because he was like, yeah, no, I can't play. But once he finally does step in the lineup, he gets 23 points in 41 games, he gets called up to Vancouver once, or twice, or something like that, I think it was once. He played 8 games with the big club, the Vancouver Canucks, he got no points. That chemistry with Horvat just wasn't there. I don't even remember if he played with Horvat or not. This might have been the time where Horvat was forced to be the second-line center because Sutter was out, which might have been the source of a big jumble of players in the bottom 6. Because, for sure, Kenins, he wasn't playing in the top 6 last year. Oh, no. But, it's interesting to see because Kenins, 25-year-old from Latvia, he was a guy that a lot of people were saying, yeah, this guy's he could be a very interesting player. Maybe, like, people were comparing him to Jannik Hansen because of his speed and his grit and all that. He's a guy who really just works hard almost every shift, but he just wasn't good enough to crack the Canucks last year. And it's disappointing to see. Like, he was just over half a point per game with the Comets last season, and of course, trying to be fair to Ronnie Kenins, he was injured at the start of the year, and when he did finally start to skate, he wasn't really that intense as he was before, but nearing the end of the Comet season, he actually went on a really good run of getting points, but it just wasn't enough, and his contract expired this year. The Canucks were like, nah, we're not going to retain your rights, so he goes out, and he signs a contract with the ZSC Lions of the NLA, the team that he was with before. The reason Kenins was even offered a contract with the Canucks or the Comets or whatever in the first place was because ZSC Lions coach at the time, Mark Crawford, former Canucks coach, was like, guys, because Mark Crawford's brother worked with the Canucks, he was like, hey brother, look at this guy, Ronalds Kenins, he's got some potential. So the Canucks look at him, they sign him, he plays with the Canucks a little bit, he does have a little bit of success, but eventually he calms down and he goes back overseas to the Lions that don't even have Mark Crawford anymore because he's over there in Ottawa. And another big player that the ZSC Lions are losing out on is Austin Matthews, because Austin Matthews was the guy who was on their team. He was the guy on that team. And he had tons of success over there as an 18-year-old. 46 points in 36 games, 10th in league scoring and NLA scoring. And, you know, Austin Matthews, we all know the story of him. He's going to Toronto next year, which leaves the ZSC Lions with quite a bit of hits. No more Crawford, no more Matthews, and, you know, it's just getting through the years as usual. The ZSC Lions, they're playing in the NLA this year, but the CHL, the Champions Hockey League season, has also started, and if you're like, what the hell is that? Well, the CHL is really what it sounds like. The CHL, the Champions Hockey League. They got all these teams from all over Europe, teams from the DEL of Germany, the NLA of Switzerland, the ELH of the Czech Republic, the Swiss League, the Finnish League. They got all these teams and they're putting them in this hockey league, the Champions Hockey League. And ZSC Lions, well, they're actually participating in that right now. The season has just started. A whole bunch of teams are at one game played on this day, August 17th. And Ronalds Kenins, well, it has a list over here on Elite Prospects, the roster of the ZSC Lions. That's the first time I'm saying ZSC because I'm a Canadian. But Ronalds Kenins is listed on the Champions Hockey League roster for the ZSC Lions. So if anyone really wants to start watching some hockey, now is the time, because our good old pal Ronnie Kenins is on one of the teams in the CHL. But anyways, Ronnie Kenins, man, we're gonna miss you, buddy. A whole bunch of people in the future are gonna be like, remember that guy Ronalds Kenins who had some insane chemistry with Bo Horvat? And people are gonna reminisce on that and be like, yeah, I wonder where he is now. But, 25-year-old from Latvia, he probably doesn't have that much futures in the NHL at this stage. Maybe with, like, the Dynamo Riga of the KHL, but at 25 years old, not good enough to crack an NHL roster. At this point, it doesn't seem like he's going to have an NHL future. But best of luck to the Lions. All the Canucks fans over here are going to wish you well. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for downloading your shows, like, now, subscribe, listen, and gaming. And bye.